It gives me great pleasure to introduce Elissa Scott, the Menopause Tea lady. I'll get her to introduce herself. She has one of the most interesting and astounding and inspiring rags to riches stories that you will hear. And in preparation for the podcast, I had said to Elissa, so what are some of the lessons that you've learned in business? She said, business? I don't know anything about business. She knows a lot about business. So I'm going to let her tell you, what are some of the things that you've learned in your life?
One of the things is that women are pretty phenomenal. That's the first thing I want to start with. We raise our children. We have a lot on our plates. We're here, there, everywhere. And then we decide to work for someone. And then we look at the structure and say, I don't think I really belong here. And so then we decide, yes, that's it. I'm going to launch my own business. And isn't it fun, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, so my name is Elissa Scott, and I'm the tea lady. But I think I'm a humanitarian and a woman of this world. I follow the universe, and it's a great way to be. I had an interesting life. I was born into domestic violence, and so from 0 to 17, I was emotionally and physically tortured and bashed and belittled, and it was horrific. Day in, day out, it just never stopped. I would sleep outside. I had no one to love me. But in saying all this, there is a glimmer of hope, because without that torture, demise of my character, I am seriously the most resilient woman in this whole world. And it is just a great way to be. And I was able to travel the world and launch social enterprises overseas. And I also have a charity for the homeless. And there's many things to say behind those sort of things. I retired at 40, the self-made millionaire. And I can talk about things like that and the steps to actually retire at 40.
Let's do that then. I'm sure your story will come into it in many ways.
Yes. It's hard for me to talk about myself because
it's weird, isn't it?
Yes, I'm 99% giver, and I really love people, and I find their stories so inspiring, and then to be able to coach them or let them know, have you thought of this, or would you like to launch your own business in this? It's work-life balance, ladies. And I know a lot of people say that, but it really is. It's your choice, your accountability to yourself, and going that extra mile. I know everyone says that, exceptional customer service. It is paramount. If you're going to meet somebody at 11 o'clock, you get there 15 minutes early, so you are never late. If you're going to have an unforeseen circumstance and you need to change the appointment, you call. It's the personal touch that people remember. And 1% of service, you will be a millionaire, because when we reflect what we have out there, we don't get any customer service when we go out. We get grunts, whatever. But if you give 1%, everyone remembers 1% service. And I'll share that with you. I was teaching some kids how to put their resume together and successful interviewing techniques. And there was a young boy in my class, and he participated in the workshop. And all these years later, I got this knock on the door on the Central Coast, and the young boy knocked on his door, and he was working in real estate. And I said to him, "You look really familiar. Do I know you?" And he said, "Oh, I went to school just near here." And I said, "What school did you go to?" And he said, and I said, "Were you in my resume class?" And he said, "Oh my God, it's you. Oh my God, it's you." And I was like, "Oh, wow, it's so nice to see you all growing up." I said, out of curiosity, what one thing did you remember? And he said, "If you give 1% service, you'll be a millionaire." And that's why I've left the office as my real estate career, to knock on your door and give that 1%. And I said, "I promise you this, young man, if I was to ever sell my house, I'm tracking you down, because you're the only one that's got off their asses and knocked on my door."
And so when you say the 1%, do you mean be an extra 1% better or be in the 1% of the population? Because I've heard that analogy of, you know, the top 1%, the top 5% float around business genres and online. Do you mean be 1% better? What do you mean?
Yes, that's correct. So when we can level it out like this. So when we're out in the community, do we thinking, do we actually get any service? No, we don't get service when we're out, and it's very disappointing. So if you just gave 1% better, it can change your life and be a millionaire. You've
Ooh.
got to walk your talk. It's so important. That's one of the things I always do. I underestimate and overachieve and leave no stone unturned. I talk to absolutely, okay, everyone on the street. So say you came to me and you asked for directions, okay? Now you're in my space and I'm going to let you know the directions, but I'm going to drop in that I'm the tea lady. I'm the first woman in the world to bring out a tea bag for menopause. And I've recently developed in the last 2 years a weight loss tea, and I'm all over the world. And I retired at 40. Every person you speak to, you need to let them know what you do.
I think people forget to open their mouth. It really is as simple as that, don't they? They
1%
really
of service.
forget to open their mouth. Can you
Yeah.
tell us more about the story of the tea? You are the tea lady. What would you like to expand on?
So life always gives you curveballs and things like that. So I can start back in year 12, and I went to London and I organised the Queen's Mother's 90th birthday party. I was on a team doing that, and then I can work temporary, full time. I was always wondering why I was always like attracted to sort of action and moving within London of, I'll do that temp job. And of course, it was my recruitment business as time goes by. I came back. I got married to a gentleman that was older. So that's the father figure sort of scenario. I have my son, my 3 stepdaughters. And then I worked in recruitment. And when I worked in recruitment, it was just phenomenal because I'd find out what the person wanted. I didn't say, hey, there's a job down the road at this particular company. I was really intrigued. What is it? If today's the last day on the planet, you can have any job of your dreams. What would you like to do? And it came up with the most amazing things. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And so I started my recruitment business. I had no clients, no applicants, and a business card with my picture on it. I was like, here I go. And I held the door and I was like, Julia Ross is out there, Manpower, Staff Force. Oh my God, who's even going to give me a go? Like, this is just ridiculous. So I walked out that door. I had 4 children at that time with us, you know, with my stepkids and my son. My husband was on commission only. And I had my business card and off I went. And I talked to everyone. I was on the train station. Do you have someone looking for a job? Can I do up their resume? I can change your life. Just give me a go. And that's what I did. And I never stopped, day in, day out. I was at train stations. Hi, I'm Elissa Scott. Hi, I'm Elissa Scott. Oh. Yeah. And I'll never forget the man that gave me a go. And he was actually paying forward because someone gave him a go in his life. So it was just beautiful. But he made the challenge. He said, I've got an ad in the paper. I'll give you a go. Top fees for you. Good luck. If I get the placement, no money to you. But if you get it, I'm paying you. I went, right, we're on. And I won. And he paid me for my placement. And then I was able to continuously grow until I had the global financial crisis, my darling. And then, yes, that was interesting. I had to develop 5 new business strategies in the global financial crisis because there was now going to be 10,000 applicants and 1 job. So how are you going to get that job? And it was just a beautiful transition of bringing these workshops to the community. And I worked with Father Chris Riley's Youth Off the Streets, all the ways to King's School, CEOs of corporations, etc., people in government, to make sure that they were prepared for their interview and had a top-notch resume.
Wow. It sounds like our paths have have almost had some sliding doors moments as well, because I know that I was born in and near an area where you live now on the Central Coast. And one of my former clients from Sydney used to be the CEO of Manpower, the recruitment company.
Then I retired. I launched a charity for the homeless. So I've got 100% success rate of housing the homeless with no government funding.
Yes.
And I'd reconnect families. I would do up their resume and gain employment, or we'd launch our own business. And that was probably one of the funnest things, is launching their own business, only if they want to. From there, I have social enterprises in Madagascar, the poorest country in the world, and also Papua New Guinea. And I spread pay it forward, random acts of kindness all over the world. And it's very important in business to have that philosophy beside you. So in retirement, it's boring. You have all your goals sorted and everyone else is working. So I was like, what else am I going to do? So the universe gave me the tea lady. And I'm the first woman in the world to create a tea bag with 5 recommended herbs for menopause. 9 years ago, what have I been doing? Banging my head up against Big Pharma, going, oh my God, I've got to retire again. I can't cope anymore. But I keep continuously flogging this bloody tea bag all over the world. And it's been a wonderful journey. I wanted to be number 1 in the world, and then it's not. It's been the journey. And the community behind it, it's just amazing. The disabled, we create jobs there. They pack the tea. And my staff are very transient. It's women leaving domestic violence. And no one, I promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, go back to being bashed or living in those conditions under my watch. And I suppose recapping all this, gorgeous ladies and gentlemen, is that if I hadn't been bashed myself, if I hadn't been homeless, if I had no one to love me, I wouldn't be where I am today, the most incredible woman that does the most amazing things all over the world, has a laugh, doesn't take life too serious, and pays forward pretty much all she owns.
Can you expand on that? Well, there's so many parts that you could expand on. Can you expand on the retirement at 40 part for me? Like how did you get there? How could we do it as well?
I had no debt. I was debt free. And I just said, that's it. No more. That's it. I'm retiring. That's it. And I was so in love with my charity and the community behind it, and you know, the souls that and the projects that I was working in under the umbrella Homeless No More, that was where I wanted to be, doing all that for free. I don't get paid for the charity work that I do. And basically it's a bit like this too. If you can't afford the tea bag, it's only $1 a tea bag, you can bloody have it, you know, like seriously, because when you spend your whole life following the universe, paying forward, oh, magic. You know, I left the Central Coast. I have 32 acres. I've got 20 animals that you know about. Yeah, I travel all over the world. I just went down to Antarctica in March. That was phenomenal. So walk your talk. And as Nike says, ladies and gentlemen in the fitness, just do it. No excuses.
What I realized, one of the things that struck me about Elissa when I first heard her talk, this was in a group networking session, is the lack of fear. And I think that the things that are hard in life, in terms of what you've had in your past, is obviously what's contributed to giving you no fear, which is just
I have no fear. I'm like got no blinkers. I've got no fear. And I even did a TED talk, which you've watched. Can fear be your best friend? Which is fantastic. What is fear? Fear is a 4-letter word, ladies and gentlemen. And if you put it down on a piece of paper and just burn it, it's gone. I mean, what's there to fear? The problem is, and where this comes from, I believe, is so many people are, oh, does she like me? Oh, who cares? You know, oh, I can't go there because she might think, oh, I don't like her. All that sort of shit. Get rid of that 3D matrix stuff. Rise above, 5th dimension, follow the universe, and it gives you everything that you want. And you can't have fear when you report back to yourself. You are the boss of you, Kate. I don't know who else is being the boss of everybody else. What do you got to fear? I mean, some people fear success. Oh, what happens if I get there? Then what am I going to do? Or I fear failure. But how can you fear failure, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't actually give it a go? You know, fear, I promise you, has been programmed into our minds since we were at primary school, because we can control you. Now, if we write it down and move it to the side, put it in a box, we are free to go and walk this earth, explore our gifts, and live to the beat of our own drum. So I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that gives you some tips on how to be fearless.
Can we talk about Shark Tank, by the way, folks? She's also been on Shark Tank.
Fear nothing.
Not even Shark
Tank. Oh my God. Okay, so what happened with Shark Tank?
How did the opportunity come about to get on there?
The universe sent it to me. I used to watch Dragon's Den, and I was like, I'm going on that show one day. That's the UK version. And I used to watch Shark Tank, and I'm like, I'm going on there. I just don't know how or when or why I'm going on there, but I'm going on there. And there was actually 8 interviews to get on the show. They film it at 6:30 in the morning. And there's like a group of people down here all watching. And yeah, you can't make a mistake. And it was a lot of fun. Seriously, we had so much fun. And yeah, so I went on there, and after the show, there's a 6-stage due diligence, and I chose to go alone. Yes, so that's interesting. And those that know why. So I walked alone, and it was the best choice. I'm still friends with Banks and Naomi Simpson. I see them on LinkedIn and things like that, and wish Banks. And isn't it funny, he was in Recruitment as well. No, it was great. So funny. Oh, it was so fresh back then. So fresh. There was only a couple of sales, I think, when I went on there, you know.
Well, that's what I mean. You say you're not a business person. Let's, like, you as a person, what are some of the things that you've learned? So we've done be the 1% better.
Yes.
Open your mouth, tell everybody what it is that you do. Just help them, pay it forwards, follow the universe without fear.
Absolutely. And ask yourself, what else is possible?
I love that expression from what else is possible.
So when we're thinking about gym membership, what else is possible? Is it that we give Cecilia and her friend Jane 1 month free? Come on in. And really sincerely want them to be there, not just a statistic. I lost 26 kilos. I know what works.
I hope you don't find it again.
No.
Well, or if you want to, I hope you do find it. Like, you know, that's completely up to you. I can hear the goats in your background.
Can you?
Yeah,
thank you.
gorgeous.
That's Benson. He's only a couple of weeks old. He's so cute, my little Benny.
Hang on.
And don't worry about anything. What, you know, when we, you know, Kate, and you and I right now. So when you and I are living in the present, it's just you and I right now. Sorry about the goats. It adds to the country feel.
It's not loud. It's gorgeous.
And oh no, Ben's getting so close to the office window. He might even come for a visit. There's actually a sheep out there that I manifested on a Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. A man and a disabled guy drove the sheep up my driveway in a seatbelt. So now the sheep lives here. And yeah, the little baby goats. They're Nigerian dwarf goats. They're so bloody cute.
I think we might have to have a retreat at your house.
So yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I want to do. Energy healing. It'd be so exciting. Armadale Airport's just up the road. So back onto us. So we're living in the moment just now, just you and I. No one knows where we are in the whole wide world. What a wonderful place to be. there's no point worrying about the past, ladies and gentlemen. And I would like to give this tip. I want you to all to reflect. What did you worry about this day 5 years ago? Kate, can you remember?
Gosh,
11th of February.
wrong person to ask. I don't even know what I did yesterday or last week. And I certainly am not very good. That's one of the things that I like. I'm not good at worrying about the future or the past because my timeline's not very long. But yeah, the answer would, I'm guessing, for most people be no, they hadn't really thought about what they were doing 5 years from now on that day.
No. Even like, so a lot of people worry. Oh, I'm so worried. And then they have anxiety and then they can't move forward because they've got fear. And so with worry, it's a future thing, you know, and you can't remember what you worried 5 years ago. So why worry? Open the door, step out, and go and talk to somebody. You will be amazed how many CEOs are homeless. You will be amazed at what's going on out in that world. It is a beautiful place. You need to step out of the 3D matrix into the 5D realm. High vibrations. Let nothing worry you. Be kind. Share. And the ripple effect of absolute wealth, not only personally, but your bank balance. I'm living proof. Can a homeless person be a millionaire? And the answer is yes. It's just your choices, your vision, and give things a go, because you just don't know who you're going to meet.
What's one of those stories of you just never know who you're going to meet? What happened? What comes to mind first?
Rod Stewart. I'd like to tell you the Rod Stewart story and the wheelchair story.
Okay.
And we'll end on the wheelchair story.
Okay.
Rod Stewart. Well, what can I tell you about Rod Stewart? So basically, I wanted to thank him for all his music. Not necessarily, I know he's a funny bloke, but not necessarily him. And so I decided to fly to Vegas. But before I flew to Vegas, I helped a lady that was lost in Sydney after his concert. She was blonde. She lost her children. I helped her. I became friends with her on Facebook. I never imagined who she was. And she was actually Rod Stewart's best friend, one of his biggest fans. I said, I really like to come and see him and thank him for his music. And she said, why don't you come to Vegas? So I flew to Vegas, but we all got to choose a letter in his name in case we got to go on stage. So I knew all the girls would want R. So I went W for Stewart. That'll be easy. I'll be nicely wrapped around and be able to say, thank you so much for your music and putting smiles on so many dials. So I flew, I did some work with the homeless. I had $20 US stuck in my toe as I was walking to the concert. I had my W on my name. I met Penny outside. She took a photo of me. I said, but aren't I supposed to take a photo of you? And she goes, no, I want a picture of you for our Christmas book, our creative memories. I was like, oh, that's bizarre. Well, you might as well have my Homeless No More ring. So I gave that to her, met some more people, went inside, and it was time for us to go on stage. And the security said we couldn't go. Anyway, Penny got up and she took us all up on stage. As I'm walking along, we had to line up on stage and Rod's singing. And as we come and turn to walk back off stage, he pulls me in and kisses me. And I said, thank you so much for the memories and your music. I got off. There was a competition and I won in front of 94 million people. I got to see him again and thank him for his music. So if you have a dream, put it out there, because you never, ever know, from Vegas to filling in a competition, how your dreams can come true. So that came to mind, but I want to share this with you because this is pretty phenomenal on how you can operate in this world for free. And you don't need 10 TVs. You don't need a Mercedes. You just need to be loving and kind, and you can have everything in the whole wide world. Okay, so there's a guy in Sydney, had one leg, and he stands on his arm and he raises money for kids that run away between Monday and Thursday, because they're the ones that mainly run away. The ones on the weekend are just disobedient to their parents. And I said, what's the go with your wheelchair? It looks a bit fucked. And he goes, oh, I'm waiting for a new wheelchair. I said, don't worry, I'll get you one. So I went into the shop, met the man. I said, have you got any wheelchairs? He goes, yeah, I've got one downstairs. I said, there's a problem. I've got no money. And he said, well, what are we going to do? And I said, well, I've got a Rod Stewart CD. Do you want that? And he goes, yeah, okay. So he gives me the $330 wheelchair. I give him my favorite Rod Stewart CD. And then I took it in town, and this gentleman who does amazing things for kids by standing on his one arm, a new wheelchair. So he goes on his way. There was a man called Gary. He watched this happen. Gary went to Burma. He meets a man with no legs. I hope this is all making sense, in a village. And Gary says, what is it that you need? He said, I'd like a wheelchair because I get all blood when I go to work on the gravel. I really want a wheelchair. And Gary goes, I think I might know the lady that could get you the wheelchair. Gary comes back to Australia. Hi, Lisa. Just wondering, is there any chance of a wheelchair? I said, fuck off, Gary. What am I? The wheelchair specialist of the world? Get fucked. Anyway, I am so proud to let you know that, oh, by the way, I'm the Gordon Ramsay of the tea bag too.
It's so been joked that I'm the Gordon Ramsay of the, yep, sorry.
I'm so glad to let you know that the wheelchair went from Berkeley Vale to Budgewoi to Willoughby to Sydney Airport. A beautiful woman heard the story there. She took the wheelchair over to Burma. The village chief came out. My boyfriend in Burma with no legs has a wheelchair and going to work, and that was all done for free.
Wow. Just asking.
Yeah, that's it. Like the tea, it came to me in a dream. I'm a coffee drinker. I'm through menopause.
A coffee drinker. Tell us about the teas.
Oh, the teas are just so beautiful. So when you follow the universe, like seriously, if you know and you're really in tune, like my hand was going like this on the computer. It was just incredible experience. You know, so with the menopause tea, it's 5 recommended herbs for menopause. It works from your head to your toe. The 9 years have been phenomenal. The testimonials are on the website. I've got Cameron Diaz drinking it. I've got Lady Gaga. I've got Barbie. And then I've got just the beautiful woman down the end of the road. The reason that I ask people to consume it at 4 and 9, beautiful Jackie, husband was going to dump her. She was extremely stressed. She was a nurse, 63 hot flushes. She came into my life. She consumed the tea at 4 and 9 because she was a nurse and on shifts. And we got those hot flushes down from 63 down to 3 to 0. Rod's back. They're happily married still. They stayed together. I'm so stoked. I have a lot of counseling to do with women, as well as the husband not understanding. It's massive for some ladies, but you can't have a block of chocolate and a bottle of red wine and a cup of tea before bed and hope for no hot flushes.
4 and 9 what? PM?
Yeah. 2 cups before bed, and you can throw one in the morning. You can drink it all day.
Amazing. I'm going to make sure Elissa's contact details are all over this recording so that you can get in touch with her. What are some of the fun things that you'd like to do, and how should people contact you? So, for example, would you like to speak on someone's stage, or what are you up for now? Would you want to adopt more goats?
I'd like to get a structure with you, if it's all right, that, you know, because sometimes it's all a bit jointed. It's really phenomenal. If I can launch a homeless person into their own business, they're housed, you know, this, and, you know, the community all help each other. I mean, I have big things that I haven't let you know in this sesh, you know, that for the community. And it's to be kind to people. Like, I want to share this. I bought this necklace. and I had a love, heart, and kindness. And this woman asked me a question about my tea, and I said, "Are you okay?" She goes, "No, I'm not." She goes, "My husband's just left me. I've got stage 4 breast cancer. I think I'm going to die. The chemo's giving me hot flushes. And I heard about your tea," and she's in Dublin. And I said to her, "What's your address?" And so she gave me an address, and I sent her over the necklace and some tea, of course. She just gave that in her package. And on the day that she got the necklace, she sent me a picture. I've got it in my phone. It's so cute. She's in her pajamas and she's got the necklace on, and yeah, and now she's cancer free.
As
And
the
I love
body
her.
miraculously heals.
I love her. I don't know what her name is anymore because it's so long ago, but it doesn't matter about names. They're just labels. What matters about is that you give someone a helping hand and bring them into your gym. You know, I'm probably one of the most scaredest women. Nah. I go to aqua aerobics on Fridays. I see the gym. I look in, see who's in there. But if you want to increase your numbers, that's some of the things that your ladies or your viewers want to do? Is that what they want to do?
Sometimes, I mean, usually experienced coaches, they're already full. They don't quite know how to do, like, it feels like it's virtually impossible to, make a little bit more and possibly have a bit of time off, but often they don't have another package or a project or a service that they can help their clients with, or they don't have multiple level tiers of things. They often forget. So what I've noticed, one of the things is that you're doing is, it's not like we're talking about funnels or ads or digital marketing or scale this, and Elissa doesn't not like social media at all.
Turned it off.
No.
And I turned off that LinkedIn thing, and I turned off that. Oh, that's what's my weakness, guys. Technology. I just press the button.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. And it's funny, marketing's come full circle, ironically, is that we forget, and people that are, coaching people face to face with their fitness and health and whatever, we forget that we've already got influence over and touched so many lives, and we've helped so many people, but we forget that those people have never forgotten you. That's your list. It doesn't have to be, the digital thing. A client or somebody that you had a conversation with, or someone that you got a wheelchair for free, however many years ago or decades ago, is never, ever going to forget you. And then that's good juju that you put out into the universe. But also that they need to focus on the unscalable things, like what you're talking about, give away the scholarship to the thing, which, yes, I've always done. And I've never promoted it. You don't win a scholarship. Well, no, I actually have never done a win a scholarship thing. It would be given to the family whose child had cancer, or the wife got sick, or someone was recently divorced, for example.
Do you think it's worth work-life balance that the customers, your clients, are after? Well, it's pretty easy. Yes or no. It's your choice. You either do 10 classes today, or you do 5, and then you have the other time for whatever you may want to be. But you know what? When you look at the human, I mean, I took the guys on in Antarctica. They've got 7 apartment blocks on Miami Beach, and I just looked at him and I said, "But you've got 10 TVs and how many Mercedes, whatever. Got my granny car. It gets from A to B. I put all the homeless stuff in. I pick up hitchhikers. No one's going to kill me, so don't fear anything." And I don't know, mate. I just see. I think I'm a way seer. I just see. I go out there, and I just rattle everyone's onion or peel it back and say, "Look, what are you doing to improve someone's life?" Or if you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's that simple. Keep it condensed and simple. It works for me,
And the opportunities that can be created come from just within your conversation your circles, and having conversations with human beings. And we forget.
Absolutely.
Because of the noise.
This Twitter stuff and the Instagrammy thing, like, for example, the lady in Melbourne, she was going like this, and I said, "Excuse me, what's happening?" And she goes, What do you mean? I said, what are you doing this thing? And she goes, I'm looking at Instagram. I'm looking at what I have to catch up on. And I went, are you for real? You know, I'm very blunt and very confronting. And I said to her, but what about you? What about your beautiful gifts? While you're spending time in someone else's life, looking at them, watching them, wishing you were there, you forgot about you.
Just the energy. It's a lot of energy putting into just the news feed, isn't it? It's a waste of energy.
Yeah. Like every day I get up, right, I'll put my chook t-shirt on because I'm going to see the chooks. Okay, I'm going to aerobics. Right. I'm going up to stir up the girls in the class. You know, the oldest is 86 and I'm the youngest 56. I think the problem with society is they're so worried about what everyone else thinks and they've forgotten to communicate with each other.
Yes, and I do think though that it's one of those lessons, you know how people have to learn their own lessons, like your kids, you can guide them, but they still have to learn their own lessons. They don't want to be told. I think that our society and culture as a whole has to completely fall off a cliff to go, oh, I would really prefer not to fall off a cliff. That's if Mother Nature doesn't drown us first or whatever.
Can I ask this as well? Do
Yes.
your clients, do they ask the customer, say I'm coming in, do they ask them a lot of questions with heart and sincerity? Like a care factor, or look, we've got those sessions, take the brochure?
No, the people that resonate with me definitely do because they have to. And they actually get to tune into the fact that because they're women and they already care, generalizing, they're not all women, but because they already care, they just get to let themselves care instead of following a checklist of customer service, follow up, blah, 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 like big box gym systems actually have. They have, you know, the customer service call list that they have to do. But instead of doing that, they can just let the thought of Betty drops into their mind while they're in the shower, then send Betty a message because Betty was just thinking about you. And they get to be led by that actually more.
What about calling Betty?
Yes.
What about knocking on Betty's door?
Oh.
You've got to get the extra mile of 1% service. How can I retain you, Betty, as my customer for life? And
Yes.
you're never going to leave me because I love you, Betty.
And you get to love Betty even if she does go somewhere else, I think.
Because, you know, Betty may come back. And I mean, look, you're still friends with the lady from Manpower all those years later.
And I'm sure when we split ways, that was because I left to move into state, because I've lived in lots of different states in Australia. And it's funny, I went from Sydney, CBD, down to Hobart, and she said to me, we had a coffee as before I was going, and she said, hey, you'll be back. I said, no, I probably won't. I think I was 25 or 26 at the time. Obviously, I did come back. I went from living in Bondi Junction to Hobart, so a bit of a difference.
That's the beauty of life. You can make your choice to go to Antarctica within 2 weeks. You can go to Tibet, Nepal, and Kathmandu in September. And just yesterday, this lady said, when are we going to New Zealand? I said, whenever suits. And so now we're going to get a camper van in November, the 3rd, and we're going to drive from the top to the bottom because we can. And we are seriously a long time dead, people. 0 to 18, go to school. What a waste of time. We need lifestyle schools. That would be better. And a bit more.
I can't wait for the schools to be gone.
And then from 18 to 60, we have to work unless you're lucky and have been born into wealth. However, work in your passion and enjoy what you do, because you turn 60, you have one leg because you're Botox to fuck, and then you go around a caravan around Australia. And what's that? What life is that? I want to die at 84 years old and go, yes, and fuck them all out of here, and what an awesome ride. And I don't report to anyone. I walk to the beat of my own drum, and the rest is history. The happiest, craziest lady on the planet.
We'll have Elissa back for a part 2 because this is an incredibly inspiring conversation.
You can cut and paste.